Hello BookTube. Today I'm going to be doing the A to Z tag. This tag was originally created as 3 separate tags, A to J, K to R, and S to Z by Jim's Books, Reading, and Stuff. And I was also kindly tagged by the Bookish Bryants when they did the A to R tag. So thank you, Bookish Bryants, for tagging me. And I'll leave a link to, excuse me, Jim's original videos as well as the Bookish Bryant's A to R video down below. A is for author. Which author have you read the most books by? I would say probably outright, it would probably be Hiro Mashima. I have read every volume of Fairy Tale, one way or another, as well as a few of his other works. So that would be 60 plus books, or tankobon. For strictly prose fiction, that would probably be Agatha Christie, as I've read. I've never done a full count, but it would be probably 20 or more. So, Hiro Mashima and Agatha Christie. B is for Black History Month. What are you reading for Black History Month? So, I've been reading for the BookTube Prize, The Dragons, the Giant, The Women by Way to Moore, and Mediocre by Ijeoma Oluwo. I've also been reading The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin, and I'm hoping to get to Lot by Brian Washington this weekend. C, what are you currently reading? I am currently reading A Bond Undone, Volume 2 in the Legend of the Condor Hero series by Jin Yong, and so far I'm loving it. D, what is your drink of choice while reading? While I'm actually reading, I don't drink, but if I want to take a break during a chapter or something, it'll usually be tea or water. E-book or physical? Physical. I've kind of come around on e-books, but I much prefer physical books. They just feel so much more natural. And while I do think I read e-books a little bit faster, there are connectivity issues. If the internet's having issues or whatever, reading ebooks are going to be a pain in the rear end. I've experienced that quite a few times reading ebooks from my local library. Favorite fictitious character? Miss Jane Marple from Agatha Christie's Miss Marple series of detective novels. Georgia. Do you know any famous Georgians? And by this, Jim means the country of Georgia, rather than the American state of Georgia. Jim lives in Georgia. Not personally, no. But going with the fictitious character, or in this case, mythological character, I would go with Medea. She was born and raised in Colchis, which is now part of Georgia. Horror, is there a book that really scared you? Well, I was going to say not really, but there was this book I read when I was a kid. I do not remember the title of it. But it had a blue cover, and it had a young girl. This would have been like what would be considered now a middle grade novel. It's about this girl and her family who move into a church with an attached graveyard to it. And she kind of sort of befriends this ghost, or this other girl who may or may not be a ghost. I think she was a ghost. And the ghost eventually tries to get the girl to join her in the lake or something. And that book scared the bejeebus out of me. I mean, mind you, I was like younger than 10 when I read it. But I don't know. Italy, India, Ireland, intelligent, whatever you like. So I think I'm going to go with the three nations mentioned. I would like to pick up more histories of Italy, India, and Ireland. Definitely Ireland, because I don't have much on Irish history. I've been picking up quite a bit on the Italian Renaissance lately, and I want more stuff on India, particularly pre-East India Company. What have you just finished? Mediocre by Ijeoma Oluwo, and since it's for the Booktube Prize, I can only say I finished it. K is for King. What is your favorite book about royalty, fictional or real? I'm going to say, let me think here real quick. It's interesting. Probably one of my biographies of Alexander the Great. As a real sort of immediate thought. Would be one of them. I'm looking forward to reading Philip and Alexander, but I haven't gotten to it yet. Anything else about a king? No. So yeah, I'll just go with probably Alexander the Great, His Life and Mysterious Death by Anthony Everett, as a good kind of cop-out for that one. I really blanked on that one. Sorry about that. L is for Librarian. Who is your favorite librarian? I'm going to go with Mark Richardson of Richardson Reads. There's also Miss Vivian Rutherford. She was a children's librarian at the Waco McLean County Library System, who was one of the she read for children, and a lot of her readings were filmed for the Waco City Channel, as well as I think on the Waco YouTube channel. And she retired about a year ago now. M is for magazine. Do you have any magazine subscriptions or a favorite magazine? National Geographic. It's the only magazine I subscribe to. I would like to subscribe to some literary magazines, bookish magazines, but I really haven't gotten around to it yet. Also would like to subscribe to some science fiction magazines, but again, I haven't gotten around to it yet. And Pastoral Journal, which I love, but I've never subscribed to, even though I play around with wanting to. I'm insane. N is for news. Where do you usually find your news? The local news broadcasts. I watch the local at early in the morning for a little bit, and then the noon broadcasts, and then the 5 and 6 o'clock broadcasts. I also every morning cycle through the 4 major newspapers in the state of Texas, as well as my nearest local one. So I look at the Waco Tribune Herald, and then I'll go through the Austin American Statesman, the Dallas Morning News, and the Houston Chronicle, and kind of see what's going on. And then I'll also look at the Guardian and CNN. O is for O. Beep. I don't have a prompt for O, so you can make up your own. I want a really good book on an octopus. P is for Penguin. Which is your favorite publisher? Tor. Tor is the storied publisher of science fiction. It's, I think, probably the largest one, but they publish a lot of good stuff. Also, Kodansha and Viz for manga. And then for nonfiction, it would probably be like Oxford. Q is for queer. Who is your favorite LGBTQ plus author? That's a tough one because I've got quite a lot. If I were to narrow it down to just one, I would say Armistead Maupin. I love his Tales of the City series, or at least the ones I've read, and maybe the Moon. I really like that one. I also really like the poetry of Frank O'Hara, and all the plays of Tennessee Williams. Some of the work of Michel Foucault, mainly like Discipline and Punish and Madness and Civilization. And I really also like Adrian Rich's poetry too. R is for Russia. Do you have a favorite novel, poem, or writer from Russian literature? No. I'm not as familiar with Russian literature as I should be. So let's move on to S. S is for science fiction. What is your favorite science fiction novel? I'm going to go with Dune is my favorite science fiction novel. T is for trope, tag, and many other things. You can create your own prompt for T. I'm going to go with, I'm kind of tempted to go with Texas, so I can launch into a little rant about, the incompetence of Texas's government and everything. But I think I'm going to save that for the end of Weekly Reads tomorrow. So I think I'm going to go with a trope, or whatever the heck it's more properly called. But I've just come to the conclusion I really don't like the good as dumb trope. I don't know, it bugs me. U is for unicorn. What is your favorite mythical animal? Girtablelu. They are the scorpion men of Sumerian mythology. V is for violet. What is your favorite violet book? I don't think I have one. I mean, I don't have a lot of books with a violet in the cover, and even mostly violet covers. But I have mixed opinions of them, or I haven't really read them yet. W is for why. If you have a booktube channel, why did you start it? 7, an excuse to talk to myself. Even though I already do that anyway, but still. X is for xenocide. What novel featuring a xenocide interested you, if any? I mean, obviously the most famous example of this would be Ender's Game, in which at the end, Ender unknowingly commits an act of genocide. But I think I would also go with, I mean, there's that. Is there any other one I can think of? A novel that features genocide in it. Yeah, I think I'll just go with Ender's Game for this one. Why is for YouTube? Apart from booktubers, what YouTube channels do you like to watch? Maximum of 3. So, obviously my first choice has to be Marla Baguetta. She is a pastel artist from the Portland area who does live streams. Since the pandemic started, she's done a weekly live stream almost every week, and her work is always amazing. For number 2, I'm going to go with ContraPoints. She is a transgendered social critic whose videos are absolutely amazing. She did one a few weeks ago going over the J.K. Rowling situation, and it was brilliant. Just absolutely brilliant. For number 3, I'm kind of torn because I want to go with some of the YouTubers I followed when I first started following individual content creators rather than using YouTube as just clips or scenes from movies or TV shows or music. Unfortunately, neither YouTuber really streams or uploads videos anymore. But I wanted to shout them out anyway, and I think I'm going to go with Chris Plays Games. He's a YouTuber who a few years ago, or up to a few years ago, he would stream video games every Monday and Friday. On Mondays he would stream a retro game, which would be a game pretty much from like the 80s and 90s and very early 2000s. And then on Monday or on Fridays he would stream whatever he felt like, which could be a retro game, could be a more modern game. And about every night around 10 he would take a break and launch into a CPG rant where he would go off on some topic, and those rants were always entertaining. And I'm not totally sure how I first discovered his channel, but it just kind of captured me. I do like video games. One of my pet projects, I think, is to try to find some video game history books and read up on those. But I suck at playing them. I'm not terribly good at it. But I do enjoy watching other people play. And I did really enjoy watching him play when he streamed. He quit about 2 or 3 years ago. His focus changed. He's more interested now in local politics in Cambridge, Massachusetts, where he lives, and cooking, although I don't think he cooks as much. So he'll only stream, I think, for like his birthday and maybe 1 or 2 other times a year now. And most of those he's just playing the Binding of Isaac or some game that's really weird. But anyway, finally, and I'll leave links if I remember to the 3 content creators down below. And finally, Z. Z is for Zero. What is your favorite book about nothing? I don't think I have one. I mean, particularly by Zero, you mean novels about Connecticut divorces as Steve Donahue likes to make fun of when he bashes the made-up stories, or at least the realistic made-up stories. I don't think I have one, really. No, I don't. I don't have a favorite book about nothing. So that was the A to Z tag, which did lighten my mood some. So I'm going to talk about tomorrow with weekly reads. At the end, after I talk about what I've read and what I'm going to read, and then what I've watched and what I will watch, I'll talk about sort of how things have been going with the snowstorm that's ravaged Texas over the past week. So yeah, so until tomorrow, thank you, BookTube. If you would love to do this tag, and if you haven't already, consider yourselves tagged. Hope everyone is safe, warm, and I will see you tomorrow with weekly reads. Thank you, BookTube.